Hey, more Redbots, this is Red Just Play, and if you're in touch with the gaming news of nowadays, you'll have heard about the recent layoffs at Activision Blizzard. I know it's the way of big corporations nowadays, but seriously, corporate greed takes priority over sustaining the lives of hundreds of people. Makes me sad. But of course, corporate greed, he does stem much further than that. And while you would probably point to EA's Star Wars Battlefront hunt controversy, he's with them, him choosing and telling you to choose either season passes or loot boxes. Stems much deeper than that. Even much deeper than mobile gaming. Now, you've probably heard this several times before, so I'll give you a brief summary. EA, his first controversy, he stemmed from accusations of them treating their employees improperly. And by that I mean not giving them proper compensation, which is of course, this was back in the early 2000s when EA was at their prime. And I say early 2000s because come 2006 and 2007, everything would change. This was during a time when EA he had the audacity to decide to say, hey, why don't we make 2 soccer games to see which feature resonate the most with players. You've probably heard this story several times before. Since companies realized how much money could be generated by selling the currency necessary to pay for loot boxes in modes like Ultimate Team, where they would hit a gold mine. Of course, the brief history about how that is that EA had inserted non-paid loot boxes into the final version of standalone UEFA. Then introduced paid loot boxes and for a extremely pay-to-win in Ultimate Team mode, debuting in FIFA 09, courtesy of one Andrew Wilson. Hence why people like SkillUp refer to this loot box model as the Wilson loot box. Now, don't hurry. We all know the Wilson that we're talking about. How it will always be. It'll always be the Andrew Wilson loot box, even though there are plenty of other Wilsons out there who don't want their name tarnished by such a bad reputation. Of course, these kind of egregious microtransactions would give rise to the free-to-play mobile market, and very soon its revenue would eclipse the PC and console markets combined. That's likely due to the majority of casual play is not having enough reason to play anything more than Candy Crush on their phones. Probably the reason why King was brought under the Activision Blizzard umbrella. But don't worry, we start part of the video with Activision Blizzard. We'll get there by the end. So back to EA. Of course, that they would take a stark opposition to most notions of dismissing pay to win, including the creator of Plants vs. Zombies, who fought hard to make sure that pay to win elements weren't in the sequel of the game, but when he left PopCap, there wasn't much he could do. You could make the argument that this was why he left, or he was asked to leave because he was in opposition of this. But since I'm unclear on the details, I'll just leave it at that. Also, in that regard, it is the closure of Visceral Studios, who at the time were working on the Star Wars project codenamed Ragtag, under the direction of Amy Hennig, famous for Uncharted. Now, I can't give you any thoughts on any opinions on Uncharted at all. I've never owned a PS3 in my life. And anything beyond the PS2, that's where my relationship with Sony consoles ends. But from what I've heard, good on you, Naughty Dog, for being bought out by Sony, because as they've proven with you and with recently Insomniac in the production of their Spider-Man game, they aren't the type to put executive orders on what the gameplay should be like. Something Amy Hennig, who had come to Visceral from Naughty Dog, wasn't really used to, because EA executives were like FIFA Ultimate Team generates $1 billion a year. Where's your version of that? Of course, the Star Wars and single-player communities were in stark opposition to this notion, because Mass Effect 3 had paid loot boxes in the Horde modes, and this would eventually lead to the smaller BioWare studio wronging the people with Andromeda. As such, we move back to, I don't know what I was thinking of saying then, but now I'm sure everyone who wants to talk about Star Wars games would have heard that Lucasfilm gave Visceral their blessing to tell a story, a gritty scoundrel story, but while the Star Wars fan base is edging for new content, EA is like, hey, the old stuff is much more marketable. If you're going to do a game about how scoundrels, At least throw Chewbacca in there somewhere. All of that would lead to all of their asset that's being given to their much larger Vancouver studio, which surprisingly isn't their main headquarters, even though it's their biggest campus. But that's neither here nor there. What is of course EA deciding into that the open world, possibly live servicey project that the Vancouver studio was working on would be a little too ambitious, and therefore they should maybe go for a smaller project that might be able to release when the next gen consoles are due. Of course, that would be 9th gen, and which I really don't know if I'm going to update to. Which, for all of you retro heads out there, you're in luck, because I'll be able to shell out a few more Let's Plays of what I'm currently doing, especially off of Game Pass and what have you. But of course, that all leads to Activision Blizzard. Now across this timeline, a lot of the talk would be about EA, because Activision knows how to weasel away from controversy, especially with their Call of Duty studios, Infinity Ward and Treyarch. Although I wouldn't really say it's their fault. Because when you consider the triangle of gamers, developers, publishers, any conflict between gamers and developers is much more damaging, and any pressure put on the publishers might actually be able to facilitate some change. Why do I bring this up? Well, no doubt you've heard of the red dot reticle being sold in Black Ops 4 for around $1. The news just keeps breaking about how any and all business practice is made by scummy publishers. But of course, publishers' real customers aren't the consumers, they are the investors. I have heard from someone I have met on the street. He can discuss. Did I? It doesn't matter where I heard it, because the way they said it, it implies that the stock market is very similar to a vampire in that it feeds off everything it touches. And if the most evil of stock of shareholders, of investors, I'm not sure evil is the right word, because as the Emperor would tell you, good and evil is a point of view, and it could. anyways, back to what I was going on about. How, the stock market, it is the true enemy of everything. Long have I stated that if I was to run a company, long have I stated that I would only ever act with the best of intentions for as many people as possible. That would, of course, mean if I was to ever start a business, I would try as much as I could to keep said business privately owned. I swear to God, I might just be losing the plot here, because even though Activision Blizzard has a record year in 2018, its investors are like, well, how can we break records again without putting as much effort in? Even if sales are to be the same. I know! We'll lay off hundreds of employees. And those that remain can go straight to the development areas, even if that's not their proficiency. It is genius. We'll cut down on all of the bills that we have to pay every week or fortnight or month or year or all of the above. I know that was probably a cringeworthy performance, but it's the impression I get from scummy companies who only care about pleasing investors and lining their own pockets. Some would support unsavory business practices like microtransactions because it would give the employees of the dev studio more profit, but that just isn't the case. I mean, just look at the $15 million sweetener bonus that was given to the new Activision Blizzard CFO. Executives. I think you can pretty much tell this is just a completely unscripted rant about the state of video games and how everything's just gone downhill like crazy. This is why I'm only really content with supporting studios like Codemasters, because they, despite being publicly owned, still have the consumer's best intentions at heart. I mean, look at my Golem McCray Darfur Let's Play. Just to see some proof. There's nothing in there that's pay to win. And all the in-game purchases are all add-ons. And it doesn't affect anything if you get it. I mean, literally in Dirt 4, the only outside purchase that you need to that can be made is of a Audi i20 R5. Sure, that might be able to please some perfectionists out there that want to get every single car from the launch, even and the DLC and stuff, but still, it's not essential to get the full experience. I mean, even with Dirt 3, they still point you in the direction of saying, hey, you don't have all the tracks or all the cars. But you still don't need them. I mean, I, for one, know for certain that the Top Gear bobsled challenge is in the stock regular version of the game at launch. Therefore, I have no further reason to get any other tracks aside from if you guys want more Dirt 3 Let's Plays. I say more because I have a few recorded, but of course, I'm probably going to upload this tomorrow. That said, better that I end on a high note in the form of a brand new Let's Play. Hey, that I've just started recording. Kingdom Hearts 3. Yes, Kingdom Hearts 3 is coming. I have long waited for a chance to Let's Play this. And on top of that, I also have the second Kiloton Big Ben World Rally game. So, bam, you have a lot more content to be looking forward to. Until then, I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, don't forget to hit the like button, share videos, favorite videos, all this stuff. Tell me in the comments down below what you guys thought of it. And if you're new to my channel, don't forget to subscribe for more. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.